Welcome, and thank you for being here. You are about to begin a journey that can transform the way you connect, influence, and communicate with others. This is Speak Smart, Master Powerful Communication Audiobook. Written and published by ReadFlow Audiobooks. Communication is not just about speaking words, it is about shaping perception, creating impact, and opening doors of opportunity. In this audiobook you will learn how to understand the psychology behind powerful communication, how to express your ideas with confidence, and how to create deeper connections that inspire trust and respect. Every chapter is designed to give you actionable tools, practical strategies, and thought-shifting perspectives that you can immediately apply in your daily conversations, your work, and your relationships. Whether you want to become more persuasive, more influential, or simply more clear and confident in your speech, this journey will equip you with the mindset and skills to achieve it. So take a deep breath, stay present, and let's begin building the power of communication that sets you apart. Chapter 1. The Foundation of Smart Speaking. The ability to speak smart is not a talent reserved for a few gifted individuals. It is a skill, a set of habits, and most importantly, a discipline that can be cultivated over time. When you hear someone who speaks with clarity, precision, and impact, you are not simply hearing words. You are witnessing the result of training, thought control, and intentional practice. To speak smart is not about using big words, sounding overly intellectual, or memorizing fancy phrases. In fact, one of the biggest mistakes people make in communication is believing that complexity equals intelligence. The truth is the opposite. Real intelligence is the ability to take a complex idea and express it in a way that anyone can understand. This is the heart of powerful communication: simplicity, clarity, and resonance. So as we begin this journey together, we must first strip away the false beliefs that keep people from becoming excellent communicators. Perhaps it was a leader, a teacher, or even a friend. What made their communication powerful? Chances are it wasn't perfect grammar, flawless delivery, or some memorized script. Instead, it was the feeling that they understood you, that they were speaking with you, not at you. This is the first key to speaking smart. Communication is about connection, not performance. Too many people focus on how they sound rather than on how they are being received. The shift you must make is to stop thinking of communication as self-expression only, and instead see it as connection building. Your goal is not to look smart, it's to create understanding. Action step. The next time you are in a conversation, stop and ask yourself, am I trying to impress or am I trying to connect? Redirect your focus to the listener. What do they need? What do they value? What words will land with them? Clarity is more powerful than complexity. Smart speaking begins with clarity. Imagine two people, one who uses large, complicated words, but leaves you confused, and another who explains things simply, so that even a child could follow. Which one feels more intelligent? Which one would you rather follow? History shows us that the greatest communicators, leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, or Steve Jobs, mastered clarity. They spoke in ways that painted vivid pictures in the minds of their listeners. They did not hide behind jargon or complicated language. Instead, they brought simplicity to the surface. The secret to clarity lies in preparation of thought. Most people struggle to speak clearly because their thinking itself is unclear. They start talking before they know exactly what they want to say. If your thoughts are scattered, your words will be scattered too. Action step. Before speaking, whether in a meeting, a presentation, or even a meaningful personal conversation, pause and ask, what is my core message here? Reduce it to one simple sentence. That sentence becomes your anchor, and everything else should support it. Presence is the invisible force that makes people lean in when you talk. It is the sense that you are fully there, focused, composed, and engaged. Most people fail here. They are physically present but mentally elsewhere. They are thinking of what to say next, worrying about how they look, or rehearsing responses in their minds. This lack of presence makes their communication feel forced and disconnected. Presence is not about being perfect. It is about being real. When you are genuinely present, your body language aligns with your words, your tone carries authenticity, and your listeners feel your sincerity. Action step. Practice presence by slowing down your speech. Take pauses, make eye contact, breathe deeply, allow silence to work in your favor. Remember, a pause communicates confidence, while rushing communicates insecurity. 4. The psychology of listening. Speaking smart is not just about how you talk. It's about how well you listen. Smart communicators are great listeners. They don't just hear words. They listen for intent, emotion, and underlying meaning. When someone speaks, they are revealing not only information but also a piece of themselves, their fears, desires, and values. A smart communicator catches this, reflects it back, and responds with precision. Poor communicators do the opposite. They wait for their turn to talk. They interrupt. They assume. They talk over others. These habits kill influence. If you want to master communication, you must learn to listen in layers. Action step. The next time someone is speaking to you, practice active listening. Nod. Reflect their words back in your own way. So what I hear you saying is, this shows them you understand and keeps the conversation deeper and more meaningful. The power of framing. Every conversation is shaped by the frame you set. Framing is the art of controlling perspective. For example, if you tell a team, we are facing a big challenge, they may feel fear. But if you say we have an opportunity to grow stronger through this challenge, the energy shifts. Same situation, different frame. Smart communicators always frame things intentionally. They understand that people don't respond to facts. They respond to meaning, and meaning is determined by the frame. Action step. When delivering information, ask yourself, what is the best way to frame this? Instead of focusing on what's wrong, frame it in terms of possibility, growth, or lessons. This transforms how people feel and respond to your message. 6. Emotional intelligence in speech. Words are not just data, they are emotional carriers. If you want to speak smart, you must tune into the emotional undercurrent of every conversation. Think about how different it feels to hear someone say, "I understand," with cold indifference, versus hearing the same words spoken with warmth and empathy. The words are identical, but the emotional tone changes everything. Smart communication blends logic with emotion. Too much logic and you sound robotic. Too much emotion and you sound unstable. The balance of the two creates impact. Action step. Check in with your tone. Ask yourself, am I matching the emotional level of this situation appropriately? If someone is sharing something vulnerable, soften your tone. If you are rallying a group, lift your energy. Emotional alignment is what creates influence. Words that paint pictures, create clarity and resonate with your audience. Smart communicators use metaphors and analogies to bring abstract ideas to life. For example, instead of saying this process is inefficient, you might say, this process is like trying to run with weights on your legs. That paints a picture. Action step. Start building a mental library of simple metaphors and analogies from your daily life. Use them in conversations. Watch how they bring your words alive and make your message more memorable. People trust confident speakers, not because they are always right, but because confidence signals belief. If you don't believe in your words, no one else will. Your voice, tone, and body language all betray your inner state. If you are unsure, people feel it. If you are grounded, people follow you. Confidence is not built overnight. It is the result of preparation, self-belief, and repeated practice. Action step. Each time you prepare to speak, affirm to yourself, my message has value, my words matter. I am here to connect, not to be perfect. This mental shift strengthens your confidence immediately. It is about controlling your thoughts, aligning your emotions, and delivering your message in a way that connects deeply with others. From this point forward, everything you say can carry more weight, more clarity, and more influence, if you are willing to practice these principles consistently. Because remember, communication is not just a skill, it is a superpower. And once you master it, every door of opportunity begins to open. Chapter 2. Self-belief and identity. The hidden engines of communication mastery. When we think about powerful communication, most people imagine techniques, tone, body language, vocabulary, storytelling, or persuasion tactics. But the truth is, none of these matter if you lack one essential element: self-belief. The way you see yourself, the identity you carry into a conversation, and the belief you hold about your own worth will shape your communication far more than any external strategy. Words are just tools, but your identity and self-belief provide the energy behind those words. Without them, your speech is hollow. With them, your words ignite minds and move hearts. Let us break this down, because this chapter is about building the foundation of belief and identity, the hidden engines that power communication mastery. One has full belief in themselves, grounded in confidence. The other doubts their worth, hesitates, and secretly fears judgment. Which speaker do you think people will listen to? Which message will feel trustworthy? It's obvious. The person with belief in themselves. Because human beings are not just logical processors of information, we are emotional readers of energy. We sense insecurity instantly. We also sense conviction. If you do not believe in yourself, you unconsciously communicate hesitation. You may say the right words, but your tone wavers, your posture weakens, and your presence shrinks. People don't just hear your words, they feel your belief. Action step. Before any important conversation or speech, ask yourself, do I believe in myself? Do I believe my words carry value? If the answer is shaky, pause and reinforce your belief. Ground yourself in self-worth before you open your mouth. 2. Identity shapes expression. Your identity is the story you tell yourself about who you are, and that story leaks into everything you say. If your identity is I am shy, I'm not good at speaking, I always get nervous, then that identity will dictate your performance. It will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. On the other hand, if your identity is I am a communicator, I bring value when I speak, people gain clarity when they listen to me, then your communication naturally rises to match that identity. Here's the truth. You cannot outperform your identity for long. If you want to master communication, you must build an identity that supports it. Action step. Redefine your identity around communication. Write down this affirmation. I am a clear, confident communicator. My words connect. My presence matters, and I influence with authenticity. Repeat it daily until it becomes your inner truth. They won't listen. You'll forget what to say. You're not good at this. If so, your inner dialogue will sabotage your outer dialogue. But if your inner dialogue says, I am prepared, my message matters, I am I to connect and deliver value, then your external communication will align with strength. Your inner voice is the director of your outer voice. To master communication, you must master the voice inside. Action step. The next time you catch yourself in negative self-talk before speaking, stop and reframe. Replace the thought with one empowering statement. Over time, this habit will reprogram your communication identity. Overcoming the fear of judgment. One of the biggest obstacles to communication mastery is fear. Fear of being judged, criticized, or rejected. This fear is rooted in weak self-belief. But here is the truth. People are too busy thinking about themselves to constantly judge you. Most of the judgment you fear is an illusion created in your mind. When you tie your identity to external approval, your communication becomes shaky. But when you anchor your identity in self-belief, knowing that your worth is not dependent on others' opinions, you gain freedom. This doesn't mean you ignore feedback. It means you no longer let the fear of judgment silence you. Action step. Each time fear rises, remind yourself, my value is not determined by approval. My role is to deliver my message with clarity and authenticity. That is enough. 5. Belief translates into body language. Self-belief doesn't just live in your mind. It shows in your body. Confident communicators stand tall, hold eye contact, and breathe deeply. Insecure communicators hunch, avoid eye contact, and shrink into themselves. Your body language is a direct broadcast of your identity. If you believe in yourself, your posture reflects it. If you doubt yourself, your body betrays you. Action step. Practice power postures. Before speaking, stand tall, shoulders back, chest open, take slow, steady breaths. Train your body to express belief, even before your words begin. For example, a speaker might wear a bracelet that reminds them of their courage. Another might say a short mantra before presenting, I am clear, I am strong, I am here to connect. Others might ground themselves with a slow, intentional breath to center their presence. These small identity anchors keep you aligned with belief, even under pressure. Action step. Choose one anchor today, a phrase, a gesture, or an object that reminds you, I am a communicator, I belong here, my words carry value. Use it before every conversation or presentation. The cycle of belief, action, identity. Belief and identity are not static. They are built through action. Every time you speak with confidence, you reinforce the belief that you are capable. Every time you hesitate, you reinforce doubt. Think of it as a cycle. Belief fuels action. Action reinforces identity. Identity strengthens belief. This cycle can work for or against you. If you act timidly, your identity becomes I am timid. If you speak with strength, your identity becomes I am confident. The good news, you can break negative cycles and build new ones. All it takes is consistent intentional action. Action step. Take small, bold communication actions every day. Speak up in meetings. Initiate conversations. Share your opinion clearly. Each act adds another brick to the identity of a strong communicator. When you deeply believe in your message, people feel it. You radiate certainty. Your conviction transfers to them. This is why leaders with strong self-belief can move nations, while those without it struggle to inspire even a room. If you want your communication to influence others, it must first influence you. You must convince yourself before you can convince anyone else. Action step. Before every major conversation, ask yourself, do I believe in this message? Do I believe in myself enough to carry it? If not, strengthen your conviction until the answer is yes. When speaking becomes part of who you are, not just what you do, everything changes. You no longer have to switch on confidence. It becomes natural. You no longer have to fake belief. It flows from within. Your goal is to make communication a part of your identity, as natural as breathing. And when that happens, mastery is inevitable. Action step. Shift your mindset from I am learning to speak better to I am a communicator. Live from that identity daily. Closing thought for Chapter 2. Self-belief and identity are the hidden engines of communication mastery. Without them, techniques are powerless. With them, techniques become unstoppable. When you believe in yourself, you broadcast confidence. When your identity aligns with communication, your words carry weight. From this foundation, every other skill, clarity, persuasion, storytelling, multiplies in power. The strongest voice is not the loudest one. It is the one that comes from deep, unshakable belief. And when your identity as a communicator is forged in that belief, your words will always rise above noise and leave a mark that lasts. Chapter 3. Embracing struggle. Turning obstacles into fuel for communication mastery. When most people think about communication mastery, they imagine polished presentations, fluent conversations, and effortless charisma. What they don't see are the countless moments of struggle that built that mastery, the awkward pauses, the failures, the stumbles, the rejections, the speeches that fell flat, the conversations that went nowhere. Struggle is not a detour in communication mastery, it is the path. Every obstacle you face in expressing yourself clearly, every moment of doubt, every rejection or misunderstanding, these are the very materials that strengthen you. If you avoid them, you remain fragile. If you embrace them, you become unstoppable. This chapter is about changing your relationship with struggle. Instead of resisting it, you will learn to use it as fuel. Instead of hiding from obstacles, you will see them as opportunities to sharpen your communication identity and presence. The illusion of effortless mastery. When you see a great communicator, it's easy to believe they were born with it. Their speeches flow smoothly, their timing is perfect, and their confidence radiates. But what you don't see is the struggle behind the scenes. That smoothness was built through hundreds of rough drafts. That confidence was born in the fires of doubt. That flow was carved through many jagged edges. The illusion of effortless mastery keeps many people from starting. They think, I'm not naturally good at this, so I'll never be like them. The truth is, the only difference between you and a master communicator is that they embraced more struggle than you have yet. Action step. Whenever you admire a communicator, remind yourself, they got here by struggling through the same obstacles I face. Struggle is the price of entry, not a sign of failure. Obstacles as feedback, not failure. One of the greatest shifts you can make is to see obstacles not as walls that block you, but as mirrors that show you what to improve. When your voice trembles, that's feedback about preparation and self-belief. When someone misunderstands you, that's feedback about clarity. Each obstacle points directly to the next skill you need to strengthen. Failure is only final when you stop learning from it. Until then, it is simply feedback in disguise. Action step. After every conversation, speech, or interaction, ask yourself, what did this obstacle teach me? What signal is hidden in this struggle? Write it down and use it as a growth map. The comfort zone. Communication growth happens at the edge of discomfort. When you stay in the comfort zone, you repeat the same patterns. Safe, predictable, familiar. But when you step into the growth zone, you face struggles, nervousness, mistakes, awkward silences, criticism. And it is in those struggles that you expand. Think of it like a workout. Muscles only grow when they are stressed. Similarly, communication skills only grow when you stretch them beyond what feels easy. Action step. Deliberately put yourself in situations that stretch your communication muscles. Volunteer to speak in meetings. Start conversations with strangers. Ask tough questions. The more you step into discomfort, the more your comfort zone expands. Reframing struggle as training. The way you interpret struggle changes everything. If you see struggle as a sign of weakness, you'll avoid it. But if you see struggle as training, you'll welcome it. Just like an athlete trains with resistance, communicators train with obstacles. Each time you stumble, you're building resilience. Each rejection is another each moment of fear is another lap in the race toward mastery. Action step. Next time you feel nervous before speaking, instead of saying, "This is bad," tell yourself, "This is training. My nervousness is the weight I'm lifting. With every rep I grow stronger." 5. The role of rejection. One of the hardest struggles in communication is rejection. You might pitch an idea and get shot down. You might try to connect with someone and they dismiss you. You might share a story and nobody responds. But rejection is not the enemy, it is the teacher. Every rejection strengthens your ability to separate your identity from external approval. It builds the toughness to keep speaking, keep asking, and keep showing up. Rejection reveals that communication mastery is not about being liked by everyone. It's about standing in your truth and expressing it with clarity, even when it is not accepted. Action step. Seek controlled rejection practice. Challenge yourself to ask for things you expect to be denied. Each no trains you to detach from approval and focus on expression. 6. Turning emotional struggles into fuel. Communication struggles are not just external, they are also internal. Fear, insecurity, overthinking, self-doubt. But these emotions can be turned into fuel if you channel them. For example, fear can sharpen your focus, making you more alert. Nervous energy can add passion to your voice. Self-doubt can drive you to prepare more thoroughly. Instead of suppressing these emotions, reframe them as energy you can direct into your performance. Action step. Before a speech or conversation, notice your emotions. Instead of labeling them as bad, ask, how can I use this energy to deliver with more intensity, focus, or passion? 7. Building resilience through repetition. The only way to normalize struggle is through repetition. The more you face obstacles, the less intimidating they become. Think about your first time driving a car. It was stressful, but after hundreds of repetitions, the struggles disappeared. Communication works the same way. The first rejection stings. The 10th is tolerable. The 100th feels like nothing. Through repetition, obstacles lose their power. They stop being threats and start being normal parts of the journey. Action step. Create a daily or weekly practice of communication challenges. Speak up, ask questions, initiate dialogue. The more you repeat, the faster obstacles lose their sting. Struggle is the path to authenticity. Here is a deeper truth. Struggle makes you authentic. When you only show polished communication, you hide behind perfection. But when you embrace your struggles, you become relatable. People connect with your vulnerability. They trust you more when they see you've overcome challenges, instead of pretending you never had them. Authenticity is not built in ease. It is forged in struggle. Action step. In your next presentation or conversation, share one authentic struggle you've faced in communication, not as a weakness, but as a story of growth. This vulnerability strengthens connection. But if you build an identity as someone who thrives in struggle, no obstacle can stop you. Say this to yourself: struggle is not my enemy, it is my ally. Each obstacle is fuel for my growth as a communicator. I don't avoid struggle, I rise through it. This identity will make you unstoppable, because nothing can derail you if you see everything as fuel. Action step. Adopt this affirmation. I am a communicator who grows stronger with every struggle I face. Nothing is wasted. Everything is fuel. Repeat it daily until it shapes your identity. Closing thought for Chapter 3. Struggle is not a sign that you are failing at communication. It is proof that you are on the path. Every great communicator you admire carries scars of obstacles they turned into fuel. The more you embrace struggle, the more resilient, authentic, and powerful you become. Remember this. Struggle is not something to endure on the way to communication mastery. It is communication mastery being built in real time. The person who avoids struggle stays weak. The person who embraces it becomes unstoppable. So lean into your obstacles, reframe your struggles, use every rejection, every mistake, every fear as training fuel. This is how you turn struggle into mastery. Chapter 4. Discipline, consistency and building unstoppable communication habits. Mastery in communication is not built in one inspiring conversation or one powerful speech. It is forged over time, through the discipline of practice, the consistency of showing up, and the construction of habits so strong they carry you forward even when motivation fades. Discipline and consistency are the hidden engines behind every great communicator. You don't see the hours of repetition, the relentless commitment to clarity, or the countless rewrites of speeches and messages. But these invisible habits are what make the visible brilliance possible. This chapter is about creating systems, routines, and disciplines that transform communication from something you occasionally improve into something you daily embody. It's about moving beyond bursts of effort into unstoppable momentum. Why discipline beats motivation? Motivation feels exciting. It's the spark that makes you want to improve your merriman, read a book on persuasion, or step on stage. But motivation is inconsistent. It's emotional, dependent on moods, energy, and circumstances. Discipline, however, is steady. It's the ability to act regardless of feelings. Discipline says, I will practice even if I don't feel like it. I will show up even if I'm nervous. I will improve even when no one is watching. Great communicators are not always motivated, but they are disciplined. Their consistency compounds over time into confidence, clarity, and mastery. Action step. Replace the phrase, I'll do it when I feel like it, with I'll do it because it's who I am. Decide that communication practice is a part of your identity, not a mood-dependent activity. Discipline 2. Building daily habits of communication. Habits free you from relying on willpower. Once communication improvement becomes automatic, it requires less mental energy. Examples of daily communication habits. Voice practice. Spend 5 minutes daily reading aloud to train vocal clarity and tone. 2. Storytelling practice. Each day, write down one short personal story in a journal. This sharpens your narrative ability. Questioning habit. In every conversation, ask at least 2 open-ended questions. This builds listening and engagement. Reflection habit. At the end of each day, write 1 sentence about a communication success and 1 about a lesson learned. These small actions, repeated daily, build a foundation far stronger than occasional bursts of effort. Consistency creates compounding growth. Think of communication like compound interest. 1 strong conversation might make a small difference, but daily consistent effort multiplies over time. For example, discipline 2 minutes of daily voice exercises for a year equals over 30 hours of vocal training. 1 story recorded every day for a year means 365 stories to draw from in presentation. Asking thoughtful questions in every interaction leads to hundreds of opportunities to deepen relationships. This is the power of consistency. It compounds. What feels small in the moment becomes massive in the long run. Measure it by streaks. How many days in a row did I practice a communication skill? Aim for consistency, not perfection. Sometimes it's the micro-disciplines, the little choices that make the biggest difference. Asking 1 more thoughtful question in a meeting instead of staying silent. These small acts accumulate into big shifts. Micro-discipline is how you transform ordinary communication moments into opportunities for mastery. Action step. Identify 3 micro-disciplines you can practice daily. For example, I will not check my phone during conversations, or I will pause 2 seconds before answering questions. Overcoming resistance. One of the hardest parts of building communication habits is resistance. You might feel tired, distracted, or insecure. The discipline is not about removing resistance. It's about acting despite it. Ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do right now to improve my communication, even if I don't feel like it? Then do it. The truth is, the hardest part is starting. Once you take the first step, writing the first word, asking the first question, starting the first sentence, momentum kicks in. Starting small creates momentum that often leads to more. What you do control are systems, the consistent actions that lead to mastery. A goal says, I want to give a TED talk someday. A system says, I will practice speaking for 10 minutes every day. Over time, systems create results that goals alone never could. Action step. Translate one of your communication goals into a daily or weekly system. Example, instead of I want to network better, commit to I will initiate one conversation with a new person every week. The role of environment. Your environment either supports discipline or sabotages it. If you want consistency in communication practice, design your surroundings to make it easy. Keep a notebook by your desk to jot down story. Place a microphone or voice recorder where you can see it. Surround yourself with people who challenge and encourage you to speak more. When your environment cues the habit, discipline becomes effortless. Action step. Adjust one part of your environment to support a communication habit. For example, put a sticky note on your laptop reminding you to pause before replying in emails. Humans are motivated by visible progress. Seeing your streak, your notes, or your practice logs reminds you that your discipline is paying off. Equally important is celebrating small wins. Each conversation where you pause, each time you speak with clarity, each story you share, acknowledge it. Celebration fuels motivation, which reinforces discipline. Action step. Start a communication wins journal. Each day, record one small victory in your speaking, listening, or connecting. Over time, this will remind you of how far you've come. Instead of saying, I'm trying to be consistent, you say, I am a disciplined communicator. When it's who you are, not just what you do, discipline no longer feels forced. It feels natural. Every choice then becomes a reflection of your identity. Do you skip practice, or do you act like the disciplined communicator you know yourself to be? Identity pulls you toward consistency. Action step. Adopt this affirmation. I am a communicator who shows up daily. My discipline builds my mastery. Repeat it until it feels like truth. 10. Closing thought for Chapter 4. Discipline and consistency are not glamorous. They don't always get applause, but they are the secret foundation of communication mastery. Motivation may spark the journey, but discipline sustains it. Consistency compounds small actions into massive growth. Habits carry you forward even when energy is low. Every word you speak, every pause you hold, every story you share is built on the invisible work of disciplined practice. Without it, communication remains wishful. With it, communication becomes unstoppable. The communicators who transform rooms, influence nations, and inspire millions are those who built unstoppable habits of clarity, confidence, and connection. Your discipline is your destiny. Your consistency is your strength. Your habits are your legacy. Chapter 5. Resilience and staying calm under pressure. Communication mastery is not just about the words you speak when everything is calm, controlled, and predictable. True mastery reveals itself in moments of pressure, when stakes are high, when emotions are charged, when silence feels heavy, and when people are watching closely. Resilience in communication means holding your ground, maintaining composure, and delivering clarity even when stress, conflict, or unexpected challenges threaten to shake you. It is the ability to stay calm under pressure, to recover quickly from setbacks, and to continue speaking with confidence when everything inside you wants to retreat or react. This chapter is about developing that resilience, because in real life you will face tense meetings, difficult conversations, hostile questions, or high-stakes presentations. The question is not if pressure will come, it's how you will show up when it does. When why pressure reveals the truth. Pressure acts as a magnifier. It doesn't create weaknesses, it is them. If you tend to rush when nervous, pressure will make you rush more. If you struggle with self-doubt, pressure amplifies those doubts. But here's the opportunity. By learning to thrive under pressure, you transform those weak points into strengths. Calmness under stress communicates confidence, authority, and trustworthiness. People naturally listen more closely to those who stay composed when others panic. Action step. The next time you feel pressure rising, pause and reframe. This is not stress. This is my chance to practice resilience and show mastery. If you don't manage your physiology, your communication will suffer. The solution is to master your body first. Breathing. Slow, deep breaths calm your nervous system. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale for 6. This signals safety to your brain. Posture. Stand tall, shoulders back, grounded feet. Physical openness communicates internal confidence. Pace. Pressure makes people speed up. Train yourself to slow down. Pauses under pressure radiate calm. Action step. Before entering a high-pressure conversation or presentation, take 3 slow, controlled breaths. This resets your system and sets the tone for calmness. Everyone is judging me. I must not mess this up. Resilient communicators create psychological distance. They see the situation as an event, not a personal attack. They shift from "this is happening to me" to "this is just something happening, and I choose how to respond." One simple mental trick. Imagine you're advising a friend in the same situation. What would you tell them to do? That perspective gives you calm clarity. Action step. When pressure feels overwhelming, ask yourself, if I were coaching someone else in this moment, what would I advise? Then follow that advice. Resilient speakers use strategies. Preparation reduces panic. The more familiar you are with your material, the less pressure destabilizes you. Start strong. Open with a story, question or statement you've rehearsed until it feels automatic. This buys you confidence. Anchor moments. Identify places in your talk where you can pause, breathe, and recenter. Detach from perfection. Resilient speakers don't aim to be flawless. They aim to connect. Small mistakes are reframed as part of authenticity. Action step. For your next high-stakes presentation, script the first 30 seconds word for word and rehearse until automatic. That strong opening builds momentum that carries you through pressure. Resilience in conflict and difficult conversation. Resilience in conflict means staying calm enough to listen, respond thoughtfully, and guide the conversation instead of being dragged by emotion. People calm down when they feel heard. A simple "I understand your concern" diffuses tension. Stay on message. Pressure tempts you to argue or defend unnecessarily. Stick to your core point. Action step. Practice the 3-second pause rule. Whenever emotions rise, count silently to 3 before responding. This single habit transforms tense conversation. These beliefs act like shields against pressure. Pressure is a privilege. It means your words matter. Calmness is contagious. If I stay composed, others will too. Mistakes don't ruin me, they reveal I'm human. When these beliefs become second nature, pressure stops feeling like a threat. It feels like training ground. Action step. Choose one resilient belief to repeat to yourself before pressure moments. Example: pressure is a sign I'm growing. Training resilience through exposure. Resilience is not built by avoiding pressure. It's built by gradually facing it. Like muscle growth, you strengthen under weight. Practical training methods. Deliberate discomfort. Put yourself in small communication challenges. Speak up in a meeting. Ask a question at an event. Start conversations with strangers. Simulated stress. Practice a presentation in front of a small group who ask tough questions. Progressive exposure. Start with small challenges, then increase stakes as your resilience grows. Action step. Write down 3 stretch communication challenges you'll face this month. Each should push you slightly beyond comfort, but not paralyze you. Emotional recovery after setbacks. Resilience also means bouncing back after communication doesn't go as planned. Maybe you froze in a presentation, stumbled in an interview, or lost composure in conflict. The resilient mindset is, that was practice, I learned, I'll be stronger next time. To recover, get back into communication situations as soon as possible to reset confidence. Action step. After your next difficult communication moment, immediately write down 3 lessons learned. This transforms failure into fuel. Calm as a competitive advantage. In any environment, business, leadership, personal relationships, the ability to stay calm under pressure sets you apart. When others panic, your composure becomes a magnet for trust. Calmness communicates. People naturally follow those who stay steady in storms. Action step. Adopt the mantra, "My calm is my power." Use it before entering any pressure situation. They can be trained, strengthened, and mastered. Pressure will always be part of life. The question is whether you let it break your communication or use it to elevate your presence. Every time you breathe deeply before answering, every time you pause before reacting, every time you frame pressure as practice, you are rewiring yourself for resilience. Remember this truth. Calmness is not the absence of pressure. It's mastery within it. Resilience is not about never falling. It's about always rising stronger. The communicator who remains steady in chaos, composed in conflict, and calm in pressure, doesn't just speak words. They embody authority. They inspire trust. They lead. And when you become that communicator, nothing can silence your voice. Chapter 6. Mastering Thought Control for Overcoming Fear and Doubt in Communication. Fear and self-doubt are the twin enemies of powerful communication. They show up in the form of racing thoughts before a presentation, the inner voice whispering, "You're not good enough," before you speak, or the hesitation that keeps you from raising your hand in a meeting. These internal battles don't just affect your mind. They shape your body language, tone, and presence. If resilience is about withstanding external pressure, then thought control is about mastering the internal battlefield. Because the truth is, the hardest interruptions you'll ever face won't come from an audience. They'll come from your own mind. They'll come from your own mind. This chapter is about reclaiming control over your thoughts, so you can overcome fear and doubt, and step into communication moments with clarity, calm, and conviction. Why fear and doubt dominate communication? Fear of public speaking is consistently ranked among the top human fears, often higher than death. Why? Because communication feels like exposure. When you speak, you are visible, vulnerable, and judged. But here's the truth. Fear doesn't mean you're weak. It means you care. Fear is a signal that what you're about to do has meaning. Doubt, too, is not an enemy. It's a protective instinct, trying to stop you from potential failure. The problem is not fear or doubt themselves. It's when you let them run the show. The difference between communicators who falter and those who shine is not the absence of fear, but their ability to control the thoughts behind it. Action step. Reframe fear as energy. Instead of saying, "I'm nervous," tell yourself, "I'm excited. This energy means I'm ready." They're not interested. I don't belong here. If left unchecked, this voice sabotages your communication. But here's the key. Your inner voice is programmable. You can train it to become your ally instead of your enemy. Steps to reprogram your inner dialogue. Ethical awareness. Notice your self-talk before communication. Write down recurring negative phrases. Challenge. Ask, is this thought true? What evidence contradicts it? Replace. Create empowering alternatives. For example, "I don't belong here" becomes "I bring a unique perspective. No one else can." Action step. Pick one recurring negative thought you face in communication. Write it on paper, then craft its empowering opposite. Use that new thought as your mantra. The science of thought control. Psychologists call it cognitive reframing, the ability to shift your interpretation of an event. The event doesn't change, but your perception does. For example, erode. Thought. If I stumble on words, they'll think I'm incompetent. Reframed thought. If I stumble, it shows I'm human, and I'll keep going. The brain doesn't distinguish much between reality and repeated thought. If you rehearse empowering thoughts, they become your new default. Thought control is not about denying reality. It's about choosing the perspective that fuels strength, rather than weakness. Action step. Before your next high-pressure communication, write down 3 empowering thoughts you'll consciously adopt. Example, "I am prepared. My message matters. Calmness is my power." Erode. 4. Fear as a signal, not a stop sign. Most people treat fear as a signal to stop. Resilient communicators see fear as a signal to prepare and lean in. Think of fear like the body's way of giving you extra energy. Your heart races, your senses sharpen, your system is priming you to perform. Fear becomes fuel when you don't resist it but harness it. Action step. Before speaking, tell yourself, this surge of energy is not panic. It's my body preparing me to deliver with power. Visualization. Training the mind before the moment. One of the most powerful tools for thought control is visualization. The brain responds almost the same way to vivid imagination as it does to real experience. By rehearsing success in your mind, you build neural pathways that make calmness and confidence natural in real life. How to practice. Picture yourself speaking with clarity, your audience engaged, nodding. Feel the emotions of confidence as if it's happening now. Do this repeatedly, and your mind begins to expect success instead of fearing failure. Action step. Spend 5 minutes each day, visualizing a communication moment you want to master. See it vividly, feel it deeply, repeat it consistently. Thought control requires filters, choosing what enters your mental space. Ask yourself, Erod, does this thought help me? Does this thought move me forward? If not, why am I entertaining it? By consciously filtering thoughts, you create mental clarity. Over time, your brain becomes trained to reject unhelpful narratives automatically. Action step. Adopt the filter question habit. Every time a fear-based thought arises, ask, does this help me communicate better? If not, discard it immediately. Language of fear. Words shape thoughts, and thoughts shape performance. If you constantly say, I'm nervous, or I hope I don't fail, you reinforce fear. If you replace them with I'm ready, and this is my chance to contribute, you reinforce confidence. Your internal language sets your external presence. Action step. Create a short power phrase to repeat before communication moments. Examples. Facing the root of self-doubt. Self-doubt often comes from comparison. You measure yourself against others who seem smarter, more articulate, more experienced. But comparison is a thief. It steals focus and confidence. The antidote is identity alignment, focusing on your unique voice and contribution. Thought control here means reminding yourself, I don't need to be perfect. I need to be authentic. My truth is enough. Action step. Before communication, write down one reason your perspective matters. Carry that reminder with you into the moment. Exposure as training for the mind. Just like resilience is trained by exposure to pressure, thought control is strengthened by exposure to communication challenges. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's action in spite of it. Action step. Create a fear ladder. Write down communication situations from least scary to most scary. Start at the bottom and deliberately expose yourself to each, climbing upward as you build control. Closing thought for Chapter 6. Fear and doubt are not your enemies. They are signals, energy and opportunities for growth. The problem is not that they exist, but whether you let them control your thought. When you master thought control, you realize this truth. Your mind can be your prison or your power. Every negative thought you replace with an empowering one strengthens your confidence. Every time you reframe fear as fuel, you rise stronger. Every visualization, every mantra, every filter you build rewires your mental world. And when your thoughts are aligned with strength, your communication transforms. Fear no longer silences you. Doubt no longer diminishes you. Instead, you stand calm, composed, and confident, not because pressure disappeared, but because you chose mastery within it. The most powerful communicators are not the ones without fear. They are the ones who feel fear, control their thoughts, and speak anyway. And that is who you are becoming. Chapter 7. Building unshakable confidence through aligned actions. Confidence is not something you are born with, it's something you build. It is not gifted by circumstance, luck, or external approval. Real, unshakable confidence comes from within. It is earned, brick by brick, through actions that align with your values, your identity, and your goals. Many people chase confidence as if it were a feeling they must wait for. Once I feel confident, I'll speak up. Once I feel ready, I'll step forward. But confidence doesn't work that way. It is not a prerequisite. It is a result. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. In this chapter, we will strip away the myths around confidence and reveal the truth. Confidence is built through consistent aligned actions. You don't eat for it. You generate it. You prove to yourself, through what you do daily, that you are worthy of trust, your own trust. And when you trust yourself fully, no audience, no stage and no situation can shake you. The root of unshakable confidence. At its core, confidence comes from self-trust. And self-trust is built when your actions match your words and your habits align with your values. Think of someone who constantly promises themselves they'll prepare for an important meeting, but instead procrastinates. Each broken promise chips away at their self-trust. By the time they stand to speak, their subconscious whispers, "You didn't prepare, you're not ready, you can't be trusted." That internal trust is the foundation of unshakable confidence. Action step. Make a list of 3 small promises you often break with yourself. Commit today to honoring them for the next 7 days. Confidence grows when you stop betraying your own word. The cycle of action and belief. Confidence grows through a cycle. The mistake many people make is waiting for belief before action. In reality, belief is the byproduct of doing. When your actions align with your goals, you prove your worthiness to yourself, and confidence follows naturally. Action step. Pick one area of communication you fear. Public speaking, networking, interviews. Instead of waiting to feel ready, commit to one small action this week. The act itself will plant the seeds of belief. Aligning actions with identity. Confidence is fragile when it's built only on external results, likes, applause, or approval. Real confidence comes when your actions are aligned with your identity, not with external validation. For example, if your identity is "I am a clear communicator," then every day you act in ways that embody that, structuring your emails, practicing clarity in conversations, refining your storytelling. If your identity is "I am disciplined," then your actions prove it, preparing ahead, speaking with focus, showing consistency. When your actions align with who you believe you are, confidence becomes natural. You're not pretending, you're simply expressing what you've built internally. Action step. Write an "I am" statement that defines the communicator you want to become. Then list 3 daily actions that align with that identity. Practice them until they become natural. Action 6. Most people feel a gap between what they think they are capable of and what they actually do. That gap creates self-doubt. Confidence grows when you close the gap, when what you think you can do matches what you actually do. For instance, if you believe you can be articulate but never practice, the gap widens. But if you practice daily, even imperfectly, you close the gap. Over time, action erases doubt. Action step. Identify one area where your thoughts and actions are misaligned. For example, "I believe I can speak well, but I avoid speaking opportunities." Then commit to one aligned action this week to shrink that gap. Each small action is a vote for your identity as a confident communicator. Saying hello to a stranger builds courage. Asking one question in a meeting builds presence. Practicing a 2-minute speech builds fluency. Confidence grows like compound interest, slowly at first, then exponentially. The more small aligned actions you take, the more unstoppable your confidence becomes. Action step. Create a confidence journal. Each day, record one small win where you acted, despite fear. Over weeks, this journal becomes proof of your growth, a personal archive of confidence. 6. Failure as a confidence builder. Many avoid action because they fear failure will damage confidence. But paradoxically, failure when faced and learned from strengthens confidence. Why? Because it proves that even when things go wrong, you can survive, adapt, and keep moving. Failure is only destructive when you use it as evidence of unworthiness. It becomes constructive when you reframe it as training, feedback, and proof of resilience. Action step. Think back to a communication failure in your life. Write down 3 lessons it taught you. Then reframe it as a stepping stone rather than a setback. 7. Body language. Aligning the inner and outer. Confidence is not only mental, it is physical. When your body and actions reflect calmness, your mind follows. Aligned actions mean practicing body language that communicates certainty, even if you feel doubt inside. Key body actions. Stand tall, shoulders back, signal presence. Make steady eye contact, signal connection. Use measured pauses, signal control. By training your body to act confidently, you align outer action with inner belief. Over time, your mind and body reinforce each other until confidence feels natural. Action step. Record yourself speaking for 2 minutes. Watch your posture, eye contact and gestures. Then intentionally adjust one element to reflect confidence. Repeat until it feels natural. 8. Environment and repetition. Confidence thrives in environments that support action. If you avoid speaking opportunities, you starve confidence. If you immerse yourself in consistent practice, you feed it. Aligned action requires repetition. Confidence is not built in a single event. It is forged over dozens, even hundreds of repetitions, until communication feels second nature. Action step. Create an exposure plan. List 3 upcoming opportunities where you can practice communication, no matter how small. Commit to showing up fully in each one. The confidence equation. Confidence, aligned identity, consistent action, resilience in failure. When your actions align with your identity, when you take consistent small steps, and when you treat failure as growth, confidence becomes unshakable. It is no longer dependent on mood, external approval, or circumstances. It is grounded in the evidence you've built through action. Action step. Write down your personal confidence equation. Example: I am confident because I act daily in alignment with my values. I take consistent steps forward, and I learn from every setback. Repeat it as a reminder before communication moments, and it is built through the alignment of action and identity. Each time you act in accordance with who you want to be, you strengthen the foundation of self-trust. When your actions consistently align with your values, you no longer need to fake confidence. You embody it. You don't beg for permission. You express your truth. You don't crumble under pressure. You rise through it, because you've trained your mind and body to trust yourself fully. True confidence is not arrogance. It's not loud or boastful. It is quiet, steady, and unshakable, because it comes from evidence, from alignment, and from the unbreakable cycle of action and belief. From this point on, remember, confidence is not something you wait for, it's something you create. Every aligned action you take is a vote for the confident communicator you are becoming, and as those votes stack, your confidence becomes unshakable. Chapter 8. Detachment. Letting go, and keeping inner calm unshaken. The greatest communicators, leaders and influencers all share one invisible but powerful trait: an unshakable calm. They are the ones who can walk into a room filled with pressure, tension or chaos, and still speak with composure, clarity and conviction. They don't let criticism, distraction or rejection break their stride. Why? Because they've mastered the art of detachment. Detachment is not indifference. It does not mean you don't care about people, results or the impact of your words. It means you refuse to be enslaved by outcomes you cannot control, and you refuse to let external noise hijack your inner state. Detachment gives you power because it frees your mind from unnecessary turbulence. In communication, detachment is the ability to stay centered when facing interruptions, judgment or unexpected reactions. It is the ability to remain calm under pressure while continuing to deliver your message with authority. In this chapter, we will explore how to build detachment, why letting go is the secret to freedom, and how keeping your inner calm unshaken transforms your presence as a communicator. 1. The paradox of detachment. Most people believe that caring more, caring about what people think, caring about impressing others, caring about being perfect, will help them communicate better. In reality, overattachment suffocates confidence and clarity. When you're overattached to approval, every raised eyebrow feels like rejection. When you're overattached to being perfect, every small mistake feels catastrophic. When you're overattached to outcomes, your energy drains into anxiety rather than expression. Detachment frees you from this trap. It means you care deeply about your message, but you don't cling to how it is received. You give your best, but you don't tie your worth to applause, likes or not. Action step. Before your next conversation, presentation or speech, write down 2 things. What I can control: my preparation, my delivery, my clarity. What I cannot control: other people's thoughts, reactions or judgments. Commit to focusing only on the first list. Letting go of the illusion of control. So much of anxiety in communication comes from trying to control what you cannot. You want everyone to like you. You want every word to land perfectly. You want 0 mistakes. But that is impossible, and chasing that illusion is why nerves spiral. True mastery comes when you let go of the illusion of control. You can't control whether everyone agrees. You can't control every reaction, but you can control your effort, your preparation and your delivery. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, calmness naturally emerges. Action step. Before speaking, silently repeat to yourself, I release what is not mine to control. This mental shift instantly lightens the emotional load. Waves crash, winds howl, storms rage, but if the anchor holds, the ship stays steady. Your inner calm is that anchor. Without detachment, every storm of criticism, every wave of doubt, every gust of distraction pushes you off course. With detachment, you remain steady regardless of the weather. How do you build this anchor? Through daily practices that center your mind, such as controlled breathing, mindful pauses, and mental reframing. These small actions condition your nervous system to remain stable under pressure. Action step. Practice the 4-4-4 calm reset. The power of releasing ego. Much attachment comes from ego. The fear of looking bad, being wrong, or losing status. Ego whispers, if they don't like you, you've failed. If you make a mistake, you're exposed. But communication is not about ego, it's about connection. When you detach from protecting your image, you free yourself to focus on serving the audience. Ironically, this shift makes you more persuasive, because people sense authenticity over performance. Action step. Ask yourself before speaking, am I here to protect myself or to serve them? Choose service. That simple reframe dissolves ego-driven anxiety. 5. Turning rejection into neutral data. Rejection is the greatest fear for many communicators, but rejection only hurts when you are over-attached to being accepted. Detachment reframes rejection as neutral data, not a personal wound. If someone disagrees, it's feedback on delivery, not proof of inadequacy. If someone doesn't respond, it's a reflection of timing, not your worth. Detachment allows you to separate the event from your identity. Action step. The next time you face rejection or disinterest, ask yourself, what is this teaching me? Turn the moment into data and move on. But communication is not about perfection, it's about presence. People don't connect with polished robots. They connect with real humans who speak with authenticity. Detachment from perfection frees you to focus on being fully present. Instead of obsessing over the perfect word, you focus on listening, adapting and engaging. Presence is magnetic. Action step. During your next conversation, instead of planning your next sentence while the other person is talking, focus completely on listening. Detach from performance and anchor in presence. 7. Calmness as a superpower. In high-stakes communication, job interviews, negotiations, public speaking, calmness is a superpower. People instinctively trust those who remain steady under pressure. Calmness communicates confidence without words. Detachment creates calmness by cutting the link between external chaos and your internal state. When others panic, you breathe. When others rush, you slow down. This makes you the stabilizing force in the room. Action step. Practice the pause principle. After every question or challenge, pause for 2-3 seconds before responding. This short silence signals control and creates calmness for both you and your audience. Training through exposure. Detachment is not built in theory, it is forged in practice. Each time you face pressure and consciously let go of outcomes, you strengthen this muscle. The key is controlled exposure. Put yourself in small but increasingly uncomfortable communication scenarios. Eventually, pressure no longer rattles you, it becomes fuel. Action step. Create a detachment ladder. Write 5 situations that currently trigger anxiety, ranked from mild to severe. Face the first one this week. practicing calmness and letting go, progress upward over time. The detachment mindset shift. Detachment is not about withdrawing, it's about engaging fully without being enslaved by results. The shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of "I must impress them," think "I will express myself." Instead of "I can't make a mistake," think "I will recover gracefully if I do." Action step. Create your own detachment mantra. For example, I release outcomes. I focus on presence. I remain calm. Repeat it before speaking. It is the art of giving fully without clinging, of showing up with passion, but without desperation. It is the foundation of calmness that no external force can shake. When you master detachment, you no longer beg for approval. You no longer collapse under pressure. You no longer let rejection or criticism poison your spirit. Instead, you communicate with clarity, resilience, and authority, because your calmness is unshakable. Remember this: calmness is contagious. When you stay centered, others feel it. They trust you, respect you, and follow your lead. Detachment does not distance you from people. It allows you to serve them better, because you are no longer trapped by fear, ego, or the illusion of control. From now on, practice letting go. Let go of perfection. Let go of outcomes. Let go of fear. Anchor yourself in detachment, and watch how your communication transforms, not into something forced, but into something free, authentic, and deeply impactful. Chapter 9. Creating unstoppable momentum through consistency and inner discipline. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in human life. When you have it, everything feels lighter, faster, easier. You wake up motivated. You act with clarity. Progress compounds. But when you lose it, everything feels heavier, slower, harder. Starting feels like dragging a boulder uphill. In communication and personal mastery, momentum doesn't come from sudden bursts of effort. It doesn't come from grand once-in-a-while gestures. It comes from consistency and inner discipline, the invisible engines that carry you forward day after day. Discipline is the foundation. Consistency is the proof. Together, they create momentum that becomes unstoppable, even when circumstances are difficult. This chapter is about learning how to generate momentum, sustain it, and build it into a force so powerful that even setbacks cannot stop your growth. 1. Why momentum matters. Think of a train at rest. It takes enormous energy to get it moving, but once it's in motion, it's nearly impossible to stop. This is the nature of momentum. In communication, the same principle applies. The first time you push yourself to speak up, it feels heavy. The first presentation you give may feel draining, but if you keep showing up consistently, speaking, practicing, refining, each act builds upon the last. Soon, communication flows naturally. Confidence multiplies. People notice. Momentum matters because it saves energy. What once required discipline now feels automatic. Habits take over, and your growth becomes self-sustaining. 1. 2. The myth of motivation. Many people wait for motivation to strike before taking action. They believe they must feel inspired to move. But momentum doesn't come from motivation. It creates motivation. If you wait until you feel ready, you will wait forever. The secret is discipline. Doing what matters even when you don't feel like it. Each small disciplined action creates momentum, and momentum generates motivation. Action step. Replace the phrase, "I don't feel like it," with "I'll start small." Take one disciplined action, no matter how tiny. That single act begins momentum, even when you're tired, even when you'd rather avoid it. Discipline is the quiet decision to follow through. Great communicators are not great because of one powerful speech. They are great because they practiced consistently, refining their craft over years. Great leaders are not great because of one heroic act. They are great because of daily choices, repeated with discipline. Action step. Define your minimum standard. This is the smallest action you commit to every day, no matter what. For example, think for 5 minutes out loud to practice articulation. Journal one paragraph daily to clarify your thoughts. Read one page of a book to sharpen your communication skills. Your minimum standard keeps you moving, even on hard days. Harnessing the compound effect. Consistency multiplies results through the compound effect. Small actions repeated daily create exponential growth. But over a year, you've sharpened 365 different micro skills. This builds momentum others cannot see until suddenly you are operating at a level far above where you started. Action step. Track your progress. Keep a log of your daily practice. Each checkmark reinforces momentum. Over time you will see proof of growth, which fuels more consistency. 5. Overcoming resistance. Every disciplined journey faces resistance. Resistance shows up as excuses. I'm too tired today. It won't matter if I skip once. I'll do it tomorrow. The danger is not skipping once. The danger is letting one skip become a pattern. The antidote is recommitment. Action step. Use the never miss twice rule. If you miss one day, recommit immediately the next day. Missing once is human. Missing twice is a pattern. Protect your momentum by never missing twice. 5. Building routines that remove friction. Momentum thrives when routines make discipline automatic. If every action requires willpower, you'll eventually exhaust yourself. But if you design routines that reduce friction, discipline becomes easier. For example, 5. Lay out your notes the night before a speech practice. Schedule time on your calendar for communication training. Keep your practice environment ready, so there's no setup delay. The less resistance there is to starting, the easier consistency becomes. Action step. Audit your environment. Identify one way to reduce friction for your daily communication practice. Make starting so easy it feels natural. Inner discipline. The silent power. Outer discipline. Routines, schedules, habits. Is powerful, but inner discipline, the ability to control thoughts and impulses, is even stronger. Inner discipline means choosing focus over distraction. It means holding back reactive words in a heated moment. It means directing your energy toward growth, rather than indulgence. When you master inner discipline, you no longer need external pressure to act. You become your own source of accountability. This makes your momentum unshakable. Action step. Practice micro-disciplines daily. For example, 4 before reacting in conversations. Finish what you start, even in small tasks. Delay gratification by waiting 10 minutes before checking your phone. Each micro-discipline strengthens the muscle of inner control. 8. The power of identity and discipline. True consistency does not come from willpower alone. It comes from identity. You act in alignment with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline, you'll find ways to prove it true. But if you see yourself as someone who honors commitments, your actions follow. Action step. Craft a new identity statement. For example, I am a disciplined communicator who builds momentum daily. Repeat it before every practice. Act in alignment with this identity until it becomes real. 5. Turning consistency into momentum. Momentum is consistency multiplied by time. Each disciplined action adds a brick. At first it feels small, but over weeks and months, you build an unstoppable wall of progress. The key is to avoid starting over. Every time you break discipline for too long, you lose momentum, and restarting is hard. Protect your streaks. Protect your progress. Momentum is fragile at first, but becomes unstoppable once built. Action step. Use visual momentum trackers, calendars, apps or journals to make your streak visible. Seeing progress builds the desire to keep going. 10. Staying the course when it gets boring. Discipline is not glamorous. Consistency is not exciting. There will be days when repetition feels boring, but boredom is the test that separates the average from the extraordinary. Anyone can act when it's exciting. True mastery is found in acting when it's dull. When you pass through boredom without quitting, you unlock the power of unstoppable momentum. Action step. Reframe boredom. Instead of seeing it as a signal to quit, see it as proof that you are entering mastery. Mastery begins where excitement ends. Momentum beyond communication. Once you generate it in one area, it multiplies across others. You become a person who progresses, not sporadically, but continuously. And momentum is not built in bursts. It is built in daily discipline, quiet consistency, and the inner choice to keep moving forward. Remember this: once you build unstoppable momentum, even obstacles cannot derail you. Setbacks become temporary pauses, not permanent stops. You will find yourself moving forward with a force greater than motivation, greater than willpower, a force born of habit, identity, and discipline. From this moment forward, commit to building momentum every day. Small steps, disciplined actions, consistent practice. Soon you'll look back and realize you've created something unstoppable, a momentum that carries your communication, your confidence, and your life toward mastery. Chapter 10. Lifelong Mastery and Peace. We have walked a long road together in this audiobook. From discipline to confidence, from thought control to building momentum, every chapter has been a piece of the dough, a puzzle that leads to something greater than just skill or success. It leads to lifelong mastery and peace. True mastery is not dominating others. It is not about impressing crowds or winning every conversation. Lifelong mastery is about mastering yourself. It is about becoming so centered, so disciplined, so consistent, that no matter what life throws your way, storms, failures, criticism, chaos, you remain unshaken. You respond, you don't react. You choose peace, not because life is easy, but because you have built strength within yourself. The essence of mastery. Mastery is often misunderstood. People think it means perfection, but mastery is not about being flawless. It is about being committed for life. A master is not someone who never stumbles. A master is someone who, when stumbling, rises immediately, learns and continues. A master is not free of fear. A master simply does not bow to fear. When it comes to communication, mastery means you no longer struggle with whether to speak up, whether to share your truth, whether to listen deeply. These are no longer occasional choices. They are part of your identity. You live them effortlessly, like breathing. Key insight: mastery is not a finish line. It is a lifelong practice. It is showing up, day after day, with peace in your mind and commitment in your heart. 2. The power of lifelong learning. One of the defining traits of those who achieve lifelong mastery is humility. They know there is always more to learn. The moment you believe you know enough, you stop growing. True masters stay curious. They listen more than they speak. They study not to prove their knowledge, but to deepen their wisdom. Action step: commit to becoming a lifelong learner. Make reading, reflection, and practice non-negotiables in your life. Never stop sharpening your mind, your words, and your ability to connect with others. 3. Discipline as a lifelong companion. You now understand that discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. And freedom only grows when discipline becomes a lifelong companion. Without discipline, your desires control you. With discipline, you control your desires. Without discipline, stress and distractions steal your energy. With discipline, you focus on what matters. Action step: identify one lifelong discipline you will never abandon. It could be daily reading, journaling, meditation, or a communication ritual. Anchor your life around this discipline. It will become your compass for peace. The role of peace in mastery. Many chase mastery but never find peace. They build success but live in turmoil. What good is achievement without calm? What good is influence if your mind is restless? Peace does not come when life stops challenging you. It comes when you are no longer controlled by those challenges, when you no longer need to prove yourself, defend yourself, or outshine others. You are free. Mastery without peace is hollow. Peace without mastery is fragile. Together, they create the foundation for a life worth living. 5. Identity and lifelong mastery. At the root of everything we've explored, discipline, confidence, resilience, momentum, lies identity. Who you believe you are will dictate how far you go. If you see yourself as fragile, you will live fragile. If you see yourself as powerful, you will live powerful. Lifelong mastery is sustained by a lifelong identity. I am a disciplined, calm, and consistent individual who grows every day. This identity must be renewed daily, not through words alone, but through aligned action. Each disciplined choice reinforces the truth. You are a master of yourself. 6. The legacy of lifelong practice. The path of mastery is not only for you, it is for those around you. When you live with consistency, peace, and resilience, others notice. You inspire without trying. You lead without forcing. True mastery leaves a legacy. Your family, your colleagues, your community, they all benefit from your calm presence, your disciplined actions, your unshakable peace. Action step. Ask yourself, what legacy do I want my communication and presence to leave? Align your daily actions with that vision. 7. Facing the lifelong journey. Mastery is lifelong because life will never stop testing you. There will always be stress. There will always be critics. There will always be failures and setbacks. But with discipline, consistency, thought control, and peace, you are no longer at the mercy of these storms. You don't overcome life by removing problems. You overcome life by becoming someone stronger than the problem. This is the essence of lifelong mastery, not escaping the challenges, but embracing them as fuel for growth, while remaining calm and unshaken. Practical commitments for lifelong mastery. To conclude, here are commitments to carry with you beyond this audiobook. Daily self-check. Ask, am I acting from discipline or from impulse? Consistency over intensity. Choose small, consistent actions over big but unsustainable ones. Identity alignment. Live daily in alignment with who you say you are. Peace first. Prioritize calm responses over reactive ones. Lifelong learning. Stay curious, humble, and open to growth. These commitments are not temporary. They are lifelong anchors. Imagine facing stress without panic, criticism without insecurity, and challenges without fear. Imagine building relationships rooted in trust and authenticity. That is not a distant dream. It is the natural result of living with discipline, consistency, identity, and peace. You are not just learning communication. You are mastering yourself. And when you master yourself, you master life. Final words of the audiobook. This is the end of this audiobook, but it is not the end of your journey. It is only the beginning. You now have the tools, the insights, and the strategies to live a life of lifelong mastery and peace. Carry this momentum forward. Refuse to let it fade. Continue to sharpen your discipline, strengthen your consistency, and deepen your calm. With time, you will not just practice mastery, you will embody it. Remember, mastery is not about the loudness of your words, but the steadiness of your presence. It is not about conquering the world, but about conquering yourself. Live this truth every day, and you will live a life of true mastery and unshakable peace. Thank you for listening to this audiobook. If this journey on lifelong mastery and peace spoke to you, don't let it end here. Hit that like button to show your support. Subscribe to the channel for more daily audiobooks, and share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Together, we're building a world of stronger minds and unshakable confidence. Stay disciplined, stay calm, and keep mastering yourself. See you in the next audio.